Everyone, it's me, Michelle from Pink and Maine, and I'm going live unscheduled again. How about that? It's Sunday afternoon, and I thought it's a great time to create some cards, and I hope a few of you can join along with me. And we're going to be making some winter cards that I started to make a couple weeks ago, and we had some Wi-Fi issues, so I hope I get to finish them up with you today. So let's jump in and let's get creative. As I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I went live for a very short time, was able to make one card, and then our Wi-Fi connection just wasn't very stable. So we were having some bad weather and it threw me off. So I did finish this card. So we foiled the snowflake background. We used the Winter Pals, and then we foiled the negative from the snowflake on one of our color blends toner sheets, and we got this beautiful piece for the inside. So we'd finished that one, and I had everything ready to go, and it's been sitting here all the 2 weeks that I've been waiting to get back online and go live with you guys. Hi, Debbie. Yeah, so this card is an A2 size card. So you just need 4 1/4 by 11, and then you're going to score it. Let's see, it'll be 5 1/2, 2 3/4 on each side. So you score 2 3/4 in on each side, and that gives you just those little gatefold, I think is what it's called. And then I glued the circle on the front just on half of the panel so that you could open it up. Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me on this Sunday afternoon. I hope you're all having a good weekend, getting a little crafty time in, I hope. We're gonna finish up the winter cards that I'd started a little while ago. And for our next one, we're gonna be doing some heat embossing. So I've got a piece of kind of coral peach cardstock here, and I've got some scratch paper underneath it. And I've got our blizzard stencil. So just some nice snowflakes. And I'm going to be using one of my new favorite tools. This is an ink dauber wand, and it's got sponge tips on the end. And so there's one on each end, so you can use it for 2 different colors. But we sell the replacement sponges also. So the wand can really be used with lots of different colors. I was carefully doing that because you want to grab the plastic that's holding the sponge and not the sponge when you pull it out to replace it. But you can just use the sponge until it's no good, and then you can replace it with a new one, or you can use it for one color, use the other side for another. I'm using this side in our embossing ink. So I'm going to apply some embossing ink, but it's a super easy way. For me, it replaces those little sponge daubers that you would put your finger in. And, you kind of have to hold it on your finger, but this gives you a little bit more to hold. And so I'm just going to tap the sponge into the ink pad to pick up the ink, and then I'm just going to tap it on the paper over the stencil. And don't be like me and shift the stencil around too much. I really should tape my stencils down, but sometimes I get too lazy and I just go for it. So we're just going to tap this ink all over to get our snowflakes covered with embossing ink. when you're applying an embossing ink like this over a stencil, it really is easier to do it with like a sponge applicator than a brush, because it's such a sticky, thicker ink. It just goes on nice and easy with like a sponge applicator. And these ink dauber wands were brought to market. I was so excited for my friend Yoli. She introduced these. And as I said, it quickly became one of my favorite tools. So we're just going to add the ink all over. Once I'm done with the live video, it will stay on Facebook, and it will also be on the YouTube channel. So you can find it either on our Facebook page, Pink and Main, or on our Pink and Main YouTube channel. It will be available to watch replay whenever you have time. Yes, the ends being replaceable on the wands make it worth everything. So I would fill this whole sheet up with the ink, but I've already got a panel that I've heat embossed because I didn't want, well, I don't have my heat tool in here and it's kind of loud to do it on the video. So I thought I'd go ahead and have one ready, but I'd show you how I applied the ink. And our embossing ink is also a watermark ink, so you can see, and as it dries, it'll get a little deeper. It does give a nice effect just to leave embossing or watermark ink just like that to get a nice tone-on-tone background. All right, so let's move this out of the way. Let's pull over what we have. So all you have to do after applying the, I lost my words, the embossing ink is to pour your embossing powder over it and tap off the excess and then heat emboss it. And I'm using our sterling. So our sterling is a silver embossing powder with silver glitter in it as well. So it's an extra sparkly silver, really pretty. And if you'll notice on my panel, I didn't bother doing a whole lot in the middle here because I knew I would be covering that up as I decorate my card. Even though I'm not doing the heat embossing on the video, I want to show you how I heat emboss because I get a lot of questions on heat embossing and not getting good results and how do you best do it. So if you imagine that my wand here is my heat tool, this is how I do it. So you're gonna turn on the heat tool and you're gonna let it heat up a few seconds. Let it get nice and hot. And then I start in a corner. I see a lot of people online, they just start heat embossing like this. And their gun is going, just blowing heat all over the panel really quickly. And that's fine, but how do you know where you've embossed, where you haven't, what's completely heated and what isn't? I always start in a corner and I just slowly go back and forth over a corner. And if you watch your embossing powder very carefully, you can watch it melt as the heat goes over it. And then I just slowly go over the entire panel with my heat gun. That way I can see everywhere where my embossing powder is melting. Because if you go real fast and real crazy and just kind of blow the hot air all around, you're not really seeing that powder melt really well everywhere. And sometimes you might have places that didn't melt and they flake off when you're done. So start in a corner and just go really slow. Once you see the change in the powder, that's how you know to move the gun along. Once you see that powder melt and change. And if you're using an embossing powder with glitter in it, you'll almost see that glitter as the powder melts. You'll see the glitter shift and sparkle. And that's when you know to move that heat gun along. So just a little tip for heat embossing, because we get lots of questions about that. And yes, we have lots and lots of colors and varieties of embossing powders, and we actually mix them all in-house. So they're all exclusive to us, all our colors. And they're very high quality embossing powders that are made in the USA. So now that we have our heat embossed snowflakes from our stencil, we're going to start to assemble our card. We're going to be using some more images from the Polar Friends stamp set. I think those little polar bears and penguins are so cute. My glue rolled away here. Let me get... I'm using our Easy Squeeze craft glue. It's a really good liquid glue. But we are temporarily out of it right now, and I'm kind of coveting this. I think I have 2 bottles of my own. So hopefully we will have that back in stock as soon as we can. So I'm going to glue down my peach panel here with my heat embossed snowflakes, and I made it just slightly smaller than the A2 card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller than that so that I would have a nice 1/16 of an inch border around. There we go. And then for the center, I'm using our Layered Scallops A2 dies. And these look kind of weird when you just cut them out because the scallops don't go all the way around the piece when you cut them. But you cut them from 2 different colors. So I have 2 shades of blue here. And then you just rotate one 180 degrees. So that when you do put them together, you get really fun scallops in alternating colors. I love that. I love a scallop around my card panels, and I love that you can get like a 2-tone scallop with this die. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down to that coral piece. And it doesn't matter which one you put on the bottom or the top. You'll still see both the colors of scallops. I hope everyone is enjoying some nice weather, although I'm sure it's probably cold, or colder than here most places. I'm in Florida, if you didn't know, and we did warm up this week. We were in the low 80s for most of the week. So we had like a jump up into the 80s. It felt like summer outside. But I know some of you still may have snow and ice on the ground. So we'll play with some snowflakes on our cards. We're going to get a little cooler here this week again. When I say a little cooler, we'll go down to, I think, in the 50s in the mornings. Okay, next, there's a stitched rectangle in the die set that fits right on top so that the scallops peek around the edges. And I've embossed it with our Blizzard embossing folder. So it's very similar, kind of matches the Blizzard stencil a bit, has the same snowflake pattern. Wet snow and rain, oh goodness. Yeah, we finally got some sunshine this week. Yeah, we finally got some sunshine this week too. We had gone a couple of weeks of nothing but clouds and rain and no sunshine. And boy, can that be depressing. We have some sunshine today. It's a beautiful day outside. I wish I could share it with all of you. All right. Oh, I almost forgot. I did forget, but I still can do it before the glue dries. I wanted to add a little ribbon to this white panel. I get to talking about sunshine. I forget what I'm doing. Okay, so I got a little piece of peach ribbon that I want to add to the panel. I love adding ribbon to cards. So I'm just going to put some adhesive just on the ends of the back of the ribbon. I'm just going to wrap it around. Just like so. And I think we probably still have enough wet adhesive to go ahead and stick that down. So here's our card so far. Got our little sparkly snowflakes in the background, little scalloped frame to accent our characters. So next, I've got our little polar bear and penguin from the Polar Friends set. And I'm just going to stick them there on the ribbon. Let's see where I want to put the sentiment. I like that. Okay. So I have already added some foam tape to the back of our characters here, just to pop them up for a little dimension. I've also added a piece to the sentiment. I love our foam tape. The release paper comes off so easy. It's nice and easy to use. So thoughts of you warm my heart. And then I've got another piece of ribbon that I want to tie just a simple knot. That's why I leave the ribbon open on the front of the card, so I can slide the ribbon underneath it. And then wherever I'm going to put the knot, I like to put a little dab of glue or adhesive. It just kind of holds the knot in place where you want it. Let's turn it a little bit. So I pull it tight and then I kind of push the knot down, make it a little flatter with my finger. And then we just have to trim some of the excess ribbon off. There we go. All right, there we have cute little card. I love the coral with the blue. It's a little different for winter too, but I think it works well with those sparkly snowflakes in the background. I'll put that up there. Then let's see what I've got for our second card. All right, I've got all the parts and pieces cut out. I'm starting to remember what I wanted to do with this one. Like I said, we started this video. Oh, this is a whole other card. Oh, I got two cards here. So let me get the right pieces together here. Oh yeah, I love adding ribbons to cards. It adds just the right amount of like texture and interest without being too bulky, and I like the little feminine touch it gives. I've always loved adding ribbon to cards. Okay, so this one we're gonna make kind of a easel card, I would say. And it's gonna be a fun, bright, bold winter card. So I've got an A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when folded. It's a top folding one. And then I've scored it in the middle of the front. So about 2 3/4. You're gonna give it a score. And then what's gonna happen is we're gonna make the card stand up, kind of like an easel. So it's a nice card to display. So I've cut this fun plaid out of our year-round plaids paper pad. I just thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to have pinks and blues and greens? I love bright, bold colors. And then I cut the polka dots out of our year-round dots and stripes. So I'm going to glue the polka dot piece down to the bottom of our arch. I've cut this with our stitched arches die. Okay. And here, I knew I had a piece. I always like to border, if you put two pattern papers together, I always like to either layer something in between or have a nice little border. It just gives it a nice separation, gives a nice professional finish look. So I cut just a little strip from our glitter paper out of silver. So we're just going to stick that down like that. Yes, plaids and polka dots are two of my favorite. So we want to glue this to the front of the card base, but we don't want to glue it to this top area up here behind the top of the arch, because we want the arch to stand up and prop up. So we're just going to glue the bottom portion. So I'm going to put it where I want it, and I'm actually going to, I've got stitches here on the side, so I'm going to go from my polka dot paper, 2, 3, 4, about 4 stitches up is where I can glue. That way I don't put my glue too high. All right. So here's the card so far. We have our card front, and then it's going to stand up. So whatever we put on our arch here will be a nice little stand-up easel card. But we also, I'm going to go ahead and glue the paper we need on the inside of the card, because you need something for the easel to stand up against, like just a little something there so it can stand up on its own. So I've just cut about an inch wide strip of this turquoise paper, which is our Riverwalk cardstock, and then I've cut 2 strips of the plaid that I'm just going to glue together just to add a little extra bulk there so that the paper has something to sit up against. So I'm going to glue these on the inside of the card. So not only do they give the card something to sit up against, but they decorate the inside just a little bit. I'll just center it there. We just had our new release come out a week ago Friday. Very excited about that one, so I'll start playing around with those items soon here too. All right, so now we have some little stripes on the inside. And as I mentioned, it just gives something for our easel card to stand up and hold it. All right, now let's decorate the front of our card. I've got lots of parts and pieces here. So let's see what we're gonna create a cute little winter scene. So I've got one of our zigzag circle dies, cuts out that pinked edge. I'm going to put that down over the silver strip there. And then this card, I'm using our Winter Joy set. So I've got a bunch of little cute little winter characters, polar bears, little fox, and a penguin from that set. I think one I'm going to put on the inside. And I've got some trees from that set. And I want to show you, let's see if I can. I just have to figure out the controls here. If I can zoom in, if you can see on my trees, they have some texture in the snow. I've added that tulip. We have it on our website. It's tulip puffy paint. And you can add it to anything. It's white, so you add it to anything you want white and puffy. And you can either leave it, if you put it on and just leave it by itself, it's a smooth, it's just a smooth white shiny finish. But if you heat it with your heat gun, it'll poof up a little bit and it gives like a little snowy look. So I've got a couple trees. I got one with foam adhesive on it. So let's see. We add our 3 trees there. I think I'm just going to add the 3 trees with the little fox on the front and then put the penguin on and the bear on the inside. I've stamped the little sentiment. It says, "Just a note to chase the winter blues away." That's really cute. And then I'm going to glue that down on the little polka dot piece there. Don't you ever wish when you place something and now you figured out where you want it, that you just go poof and it would all be adhered? Because now you've got to take it back apart and put it back together the way you wanted it. It needs to be something magical like that. All my years of paper crafting, no one's ever come up with something that just poofs, magically makes it stick. All right, I'll start to glue down my trees. All right, and then the one with the foam tape, just to pop it up a little bit. But tomorrow on Monday, tomorrow evening, I believe at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have an exciting guest going live on our channels. So be sure to tune in. She will be going live on Facebook and YouTube. It's Demo Donna. Love her. And her mom used to own the company Sparkle and Sprinkle, if any of you ever heard of that. She traveled and did all the expo shows and had all the sparkly glitter and embossing powders and all that fun stuff. There's the card so far. I really like that little fox. I think it's cute. The winter trees. And then we stand it up like that. But I think even to add just a little bit more, I'm gonna put a couple of these characters on the inside here, just on the sides of the plaid. And then the card can sit up against the little bear there. Okay. So I'm going to open the card and just add these inside. And then on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings at 7:30 we have Caitlin going live. She always has something fun in store. We'll add this little penguin. There. Just a couple of cute little characters on the inside. And then our little fox on the outside. There's our card. And it's just a fun little easel card that stands up. So the recipient can display it on their shelf or on their desk. That's always fun to give something that someone can display. All right. All right, and we're going to make one more card. Just another little simple winter scene card. I've got a pink A2 card base. This is side folding, but I'm going to turn it horizontally. And I used one of my favorite dies, my scalloped rectangle dies. I use this die on so many cards. I love it. It gives just the right amount of little scallops peeking out around a rectangle. So I've just cut a piece of white cardstock with that. And then I cut another plaid from our year-round plaids paper pad. I love this one with like the navy blue and the purple and pink and the light blue. Oh, look at the back too. The back is just as pretty. And these are the last of my winter cards that I'm going to make this year, I think. I'm moving on to Valentine's. It's hard to believe Valentine's Day will be here soon. So it's time to start making some Valentines. Next, I cut 2 strips, one out of the silver glitter paper, and then another one from our year-round dots and plaids in that lavender polka dots. So I'm going to layer these together. The silver glitter paper is not quite 2 inches, probably 1.75 inches. And then the purple dot's probably 1.5 inches wide. It's always fun to add a little sparkle to your cards. Glitter paper is the perfect way to do that. All right. It's just a simple little card. So I've cut out a scalloped circle in white cardstock. And then our Riverwalk cardstock's pretty teal. I thought it'd bring out the blue in the plaid paper. I've cut out a stitch circle to go on top of that. And then let's place our characters. See how everything's going to come together. I'm going to put the penguin on that little block of ice there. We've got our seal. And then our little sentiment, wishing you warmth and joy this winter. Okay, so I can either put that out to the side, or we can put them in the middle. And then we can add the sentiment underneath. Let's see. I could put it to this side. I think I like it to the side there. So I'll go ahead and put the sentiment down so I know where I can place my circle on the card. Thanks everyone so much for joining me today. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Okay, there we go. Oops. Don't mind the squeaky wheels. We have a cart that's kind of squeaky. A couple people working today. There we go, like that. And I'll just start putting down our little characters. They've got my little melting ice here, and it's shiny like ice because I put our touch of gloss over it. You have to put that on and let it dry thoroughly. So I put that on before, but it dries nice crystal clear with a smooth finish. Makes everything look kind of shiny and glossy. Set our penguin up on top of him, on top of the ice. And our seal. There we go. Super simple card, easy to create, just like a little vignette or scene of characters that go together nicely. And everything pulls together for a nice finished look. We've got that. We did our little easel card with our fox. Well, thanks so much, Mary. So we've got those two cards. And then we did our first card with a little heat embossed snowflakes. And our Polar Friends characters. So we used our Winter Joy and our Polar Friends stamps and dies. So thanks everyone again for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Maybe you'll get some time to do some crafting or card making. And we will see you again soon. And until then, keep living the creative life.